When Bang Si Hyuk, the legendary producer who built BTS from the ground up, finally decided to speak about Jungkook, no one was ready for what he revealed. Behind all the fame, the perfection, and the golden image, Bang Si Hyuk confessed that Jungkook was actually the most difficult member to handle, but not because of arrogance, not because of ego. It was something far deeper, something that shows who Jungkook really is behind the stage lights. What Bang Si Hyuk said next left even the members speechless, and it changed how fans see Jungkook forever. It started during a quiet interview. Bang Si Hyuk was asked a simple question: which BTS member was the hardest to handle? He paused, smiled, and said one name: Jungkook. The room went silent. Fans who heard the clip couldn't believe it. How could the golden Maknae, the most disciplined member, be the hardest to manage? For years, Jungkook has been known as the perfect idol, the one who never fails, never rests, and never shows weakness. But Bang Si Hyuk's words hinted at something deeper. He wasn't talking about attitude or rebellion. He was talking about perfectionism. Jungkook's endless pursuit of excellence sometimes made him his own worst enemy. According to staff, Jungkook often stayed in the studio long after rehearsals were over. He practiced vocals, dance moves, and stage presence until dawn, not because anyone told him to, but because he had to be better. Bang Si Hyuk once said, "He pushes himself so hard that sometimes I have to force him to stop." Being the youngest in BTS came with unimaginable pressure. Everyone saw him as the prodigy, the one who could sing, dance, produce, and perform flawlessly. But behind closed doors, that title became a burden. Jungkook once admitted, "Sometimes I feel like I can't make mistakes, like people expect me to be perfect all the time." There was a night during BTS's early years when Jungkook broke down in the studio. He wasn't angry, just exhausted. Bang Si Hyuk later recalled, "That's when I realized Jungkook wasn't difficult because he was stubborn. He was difficult because he gave too much of himself." And from that moment, Bang tried to protect him. Even from when Bang's confession went viral, fans weren't the only ones shocked. BTS members later mentioned they understood exactly what he meant. Jimin said softly, "He works harder than anyone I know." Taeyong added, "Sometimes he forgets he's human." Their reactions showed just how much Jungkook's dedication had affected everyone around him. ARMY flooded social media with messages of love and worry. Some wrote, "He doesn't need to be perfect. We love him for who he is." Others thanked Bang Si Hyuk for reminding everyone that even idols have limits. The fandom united once again, this time not in celebration, but in protection of Jungkook's well-being. When Bang Si Hyuk said Jungkook was difficult, he didn't mean it negatively. He meant Jungkook is complex, driven, and relentless, someone who refuses to settle for good enough. It's that same fire that made him one of the most respected artists in the world today. Over the years, Jungkook learned to balance passion with peace. In interviews, he's spoken more openly about mental health, pressure, and learning to rest. He's no longer just the golden Maknae. He's an artist who's learning to be human. Bang Si Hyuk's confession didn't damage Jungkook's image, it deepened it. Fans now see not just a superstar, but a young man who worked through pain, fear, and pressure to reach greatness. His story reminds everyone that behind every stage light, there's a soul striving for purpose. And maybe that's what makes Jungkook truly golden. There came a point when Jungkook's passion started to hurt him. He would record the same line over and over again, chasing a sound that only he could hear. Bang Si Hyuk once said, "Sometimes Jungkook forgets that art is about emotion, not perfection." But for Jungkook, the two were inseparable. Every mistake felt personal. Every imperfection felt like failure. Behind the scenes, staff noticed moments of silence, times when Jungkook would sit alone after rehearsals, staring at the empty stage, and no cameras, no applause, just reflection. That's when the pressure of being BTS's golden boy truly showed. He wasn't just carrying his own dreams, he was carrying the expectations of millions. Bang Si Hyuk once revealed that Jungkook was the member he worried about the most. "He gives 120% every time," Bang said. "And when he fails to reach 121%, he blames himself." It wasn't about control, it was about care. Bang saw not just an idol, but a young man trying to prove his worth in a world that already adored him. During the Love Yourself era, Jungkook began to open up more about his emotions. He started writing lyrics that reflected his internal struggles, songs about self-worth, loneliness, and love beyond perfection. Fans noticed a new tone in his voice, softer, more vulnerable. It was the beginning of a transformation. RM often acted as Jungkook's anchor. He reminded him, "You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Just be you." Jin, always the eldest, offered quiet wisdom. "You can't shine if you burn yourself out," he told him one night after practice. Slowly, Jungkook began to realize that love and rest could coexist with ambition. Bang Si Hyuk and Jungkook shared something unspoken, mutual respect built through years of trust and tension. Bang guided him like a father figure, pushing when necessary, protecting when needed. He saw Jungkook not as an artist under his label, but as a person learning how to live with. Famed, that's why, when he called Jungkook difficult, it was never criticism, it was admiration in disguise. As clips from Bang's interviews spread online, ARMY began piecing the story together. Old footage resurfaced, Jungkook practicing until dawn, apologizing for tiny mistakes, even crying backstage. Suddenly, Bang's words made perfect sense. Jungkook wasn't difficult because he refused to listen. He was difficult because he refused to quit. In recent interviews, Jungkook has redefined what perfection means to him. He said softly, "Perfection isn't doing everything right. It's giving your heart fully." That line became one of the most quoted by fans, symbolizing his growth and self-awareness. The boy who once feared mistakes was now embracing imperfection as part of his artistry. Months later, Bang Si Hyuk was asked again about Jungkook. This time he smiled and said, "He's still difficult, but only because he dreams bigger than anyone else I know." It wasn't frustration anymore, it was pride, a mentor's acknowledgement of a student who had turned his pain into purpose. Today, Jungkook stands as one of the most influential solo artists in the world. But behind the fame lies the same heart Bang Si Hyuk once described, complex, driven, and endlessly passionate. The confession that once shocked fans now feels like a love letter from a producer who watched a boy become a legend. And maybe that's why Jungkook will always be more than an idol. He's a reminder that greatness is born not from ease, but from struggle. And in that struggle, he found his truth. After Bang Si Hyuk's confession went viral, something shifted. The world no longer saw Jungkook as just the golden Maknae. They saw the human behind the perfection, the boy who stumbled, learned, and kept going. It wasn't about talent anymore, it was about heart. And from that moment, Jungkook's story became everyone's story. Fame is heavy, especially when it's built on love. Jungkook once said, "I don't want to disappoint anyone." Those words reveal everything. The more people loved him, the more he pushed himself to be worthy of that love. But love isn't something you earn, it's something you received.